Welcome back to episode 44 of the j2cast. I'm Jeff Allender. Jesse will be joining us here later. To start off today, I wanted to talk about this North Korea and the threats being leveled against the United States. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope this doesn't escalate too much. I definitely think there's cause for concern, and if you are a prepper, I think right now is probably the time we need to be reviewing a lot of our preps and just making sure that we're caught up to where we want to be. Even if this doesn't go into the fire and brimstone type scenarios that they seem to be alleviating to in the media, I do think that this is a good, at least, practice run, if nothing else. I don't know anybody else out there. Pretty much for my preps, I've had in mind a instant scenario, the EMP, the CME, the earthquakes, things like that, to grab and go. And I think what we're looking at here is a scenario where we're getting warnings. We're getting lots of warnings. And it'd be a good idea to use this time to our advantage. Now, my strategic planning has pretty much been reserved to risk, chess, board games types of things, maybe a few computer simulations, but nothing on this level. So the complete mind-boggling nature of North Korea right now in announcing that they not only want to attack Guam, but they plan to attack Guam, and then telling us how many missiles, where the missiles are going to fly from, how they're going to get there. I don't understand this. I'm not going to pretend to be able to give you any answers because it seems to go against everything that I've ever heard of. You know, Pearl Harbor, sneak attacks type of thing. Those I understand. This totally blows me away. But I want to do some research into South Korea and basically see what type of impact this could have on us should things start to go. I mean, we know that Seoul is like 35 miles south of DMZ. I've heard numbers of up to 20 million people in this area. So there's a lot of people that can be affected on that local area that in today's connected world could have effects on us. And on part of that, let's go to camera 2. We've got some information here. Let's go to picture-in-picture there, Carter. From the MIT, Atlas Media at MIT, we see here that South Korea is the 5th largest economy in the world. They've got exports to China, exports to us, exports to Vietnam, Hong Kong, etc. So there's a lot to be here. On that, a lot of these exports are electrical equipment, machinery, equipment, vehicles, computers, technology, a lot of things that we use every day. Should the missiles and rockets and everything start flying, these are going to be restrained. I know there's a new iPhone due out later this year. That could be affected. That's minor. You know, we've already got the ones that work. It'll be getting replacement parts, repair parts, new parts for ones that are things that are broken down are going to be substantially hindered, especially with the number of factories over there that produce LCD screens, circuit boards, circuits, processors, memory chips. A lot of this comes from there. You don't just fire one of these plants up overnight. I've heard numbers of 2 or more years from the ground up to get these things going. So this will be a thing. Now, let's go back to camera 1, Carter. If we do this, you know, a lot of us go to Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club. A lot of places we shop are last minute, just in time stocking. So they don't have a back area to keep a lot of stuff. What you see on the shelves is what they have. What happens when the fighting starts, or if the fighting starts, and the bandages and the supplies are needed to go there, and we're not sitting on the stock that we currently are? I mean, we're talking from bandages to food to who knows what not's going to be needed over there. I'm not even going to try to pretend to know the ins and outs of this logistical nightmare. But I do know this. With the current situation, we have the opportunity to look at what we need for the long term, to look at what we need for the short term, to look at what we can readily get stock up and keep. There's things we can go out there and get. As I've said before, toilet paper isn't going to go bad. Make sure those shelves with the water and things are up to snuff, because we don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is that there is a person of questionable sanity who is threatening us, the United States, as well as others, South Korea. And this is, in my opinion, the very nature of preparedness. This may never happen, but if it does, we want to be ready. We want to be set up so that our families are provided for, our families are safe, and our families have what they need to continue on until whatever happens blows over. Soon we're going to be joined by Jesse. We're going to talk some more about this and give you what little we know, because I'm going to be honest with you. When this comes up, I think about this. I can't wrap my mind around it. The fact that we're going this far and we're this type of rhetoric, and I don't see where we're going to come out of it at. We've made promises that if we don't keep, are going to damage the United States in the worldview more than we've already have. We've got threats. I like to equivocate it to, you're in a bar, you're hanging out with your friends, and a guy comes up and keeps, pushing you in the chest saying, these are the things I'm going to do to you. How long do you do that? How long do you do this before you finally tell him, all right, we need to make this go away. We need to get this done. We need to do something to get you to stay on your side and let me enjoy myself. Until that happens, exercising preparedness is really all we have. Reading the Facebook posts of Franklin Horton, I noticed that people were saying, are you worried? He said, no, I'm not worried. And I agree. We can't do anything about it. Let's not worry ourselves about it, but let's use this as an impetus to make sure that we're prepared for whatever may happen. We'll be right back.
Like what you see, like our Facebook page, it's j2cast prepping. You're more than welcome to email us at jeff@j2cast.com or jesse@j2cast.com. Go ahead and leave a voicemail if you'd like at 417-533-3716.
Welcome back. As I was saying before, we don't know what's going to happen, so this is the great time to take advantage of, the time we've been given to really review our preps, as an overview of everything that we think we may need, we might need, we may want, if something were to happen to make things difficult, hard to get, or if things really got bad. I'm not here to say they're going to be. I'm just saying these are always good possibilities to go out and get, obtain, and hold on to just in case. A few of them that I'm thinking of here, I'm going to go to a full screen. Carter, don't worry about it. These are essentials. Long-term storage food. Start off with canned food for the longer than, refrigerated food, but, you should also have your really long-term storage, your dehydrated foods, your freeze-dried foods, etc. But in the meantime, stock up on those canned foods. We don't know what's going to happen, so it's always a good idea, because these things are going to last you for anywhere, depending on what you get, for anywhere from a year, 2, 3, some even 4 years, easily. Toiletries. Make sure you're stocked up on the things you use every day. Look at the things you use every day that if you couldn't run to the store and get more of, that you may need for a month, for 2 months. And, we're talking toothpaste, extra toothbrushes, toilet paper, of course. That stuff, like I said, it doesn't go bad. Batteries. If you're like my house, we use batteries for everything. Everything we have uses AA, AAAs, even a few things that still use D. Find out what these are. Find out what you think you might need. Find out what you think you might want, and get those. Medications. If you can call your doctor and go ahead and get a refill on meds that you know you're going to need, you might want to do that. Who knows where things are going to go, and who knows how they're going to do it. But if you can get a 90-day supply, you're going to be a little better off. that way. Some medicines they're not going to give you 90 days on, but maybe you have an understanding doctor. Med supplies, bandages, alcohol, any of these types of things, hydrogen peroxide, all good ideas to have around, things that we'll store. Gas. Now, if you've got the gas cans or can get the gas cans, not only is this good for running generators or getting you somewhere, but if this breaks loose and we start sending ships full of tanks and trucks and everything else over there, I'm guessing we're going to see a jump in gas prices. We're going to see things being put towards that effort that we currently are enjoying in a lot of supply and low prices of right now. So if you can fill a couple gas cans up, fill a lot of gas cans up, whatever you have storage for and whatever you can afford, it'd be a good idea to do that. And of course, water. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but water is always, if the power grid goes down, if the water systems go down, if anything that happens, having water on hand is always a good idea because it's something we have to have. I mean, there's air, water, and food. Air quickest, water next, food is the one we can last longest without. So make sure these are covered. Take this opportunity to really look at your plans as to are you staying in, are you going somewhere, are you getting, what is it going to take for you to bug out? What's it going to take for you to bug in? These are things that we've covered in the past, and they're really up to you. Everybody's situation is different. I can't tell you exactly what to do on any of these, but I can tell you if you're going to go somewhere, if there's somewhere, a fallback place you have your way to get there in mind ahead of time. You don't want to get lost. You don't want to waste fuel. You don't want to waste time getting where you're wanting to go if things are really getting bad. Just some quick ideas that I wanted to throw out here to you before we brought Jesse on. And I'm sure he'll have some things to add to it. In the meantime, we'll be right back. And welcome back. As you can see, I am now joined by Jesse, who is back from his assignment, whatever that assignment was. He's now here. I think it was trimming his beard.
Might have been. Grooming takes a lot of work to look this good.
Need to work harder. Yeah. I did want to bring up that last week we spoke about nuclear, and of course we're still on that topic, I guess, a little bit with North Korea still being at the top of the news and all that. And we talked about some stuff. It was almost prescient because a box came in my mail.
Yes.
And they don't advertise with us. We hope they will someday, but until they do, I'm not going to. I will say this. I'll say it like this. If you were to have Scooby-Doo say it, he'd say it was the Rattle Rocks.
Rattle Rocks. Yeah.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's as much of a clue as I'm getting out of those things. Pretty good clue. Yeah. Not as good as advertising.
Right.
But it's a good clue.
Yeah, we'll pronounce it properly if you give us money.
Yeah. And in the box was this little thing here. Did you take yours out? I haven't taken mine out.
I took mine out.
Took yours out. Just as we were speaking, radiation card.
Same one that we.
Yeah, the exact same one. It's like we tapped into their mind.
Yeah, the Rad Triage 50.
No, and the other thing we got was the potassium iodide tablets. And let's see, I didn't count these off. 2, 4, 6, 7, 14 of them.
Yep.
It says 1 tablet a day, so 2-week supply of that.
Hopefully long enough to be able to get out of an area and decon yourself.
So I thought that was funny though, that we talk about it and they bring it to our doorstep.
The following day, when I got mine.
It was, they had, it was that weird. It was already in the mail. I had not looked at any thing. I will say though, I wasn't that impressed with the radiation bags.
Yeah. As far as I've been able to tell, that they're just trash bags that are pre-labeled.
Yeah. Although they could be fun to put something in and drop off in your neighbor's yard.
True. Well, I was reading a story this morning about some neighbors that had a major disagreement, and one was a major supporter of a failed presidential candidate, and the other was worked for our government for the successful presidential candidate. And the one supporting the failed presidential candidate, assassination style, just 2 shots to the head, killed his neighbor, because apparently politics is that important.
Wow. Okay. I never discuss politics with my neighbors.
I don't have any neighbors.
Well, yeah, you do. You got the one that tried to burn your house down.
Well, yeah. Well, he's kind of down the way. It was.
But they also, nuclear war survival skills. This, though, is a little too much too late. There's a lot in here on building your fallout shelter. And
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have some planning.
Yeah, I kind of went through that, and it seems to be. I didn't check the date on it, but
87.
87. Oh, well, that explains a lot on why this seemed a little Cold War. Original published 1979.
Yeah.
So
now fallout radiation meters was updated in 1999. It says here. So, but yeah, anyhow.
yeah, well, the current photographs inside this book. I don't know if you can see the
Car
model of that car. So if that
is it about? Is it
this.
it looks like that would be a good one for a EMP proof car.
Yeah,
for a segment on EMP.
Yeah, I think it still used the points.
Yeah, so
It wasn't computer controlled, so imagine that would give you some resistance.
Still be the AMC Gremlins. We're gonna if we are actually hit by something, we're gonna see those things everywhere.
AMC Eagle, preferably. I like the Eagles better than the Gremlins. You can get the skid plates, put the snorkel on them.
But there seems to be more Gremlins out there. At least I see Gremlins all the time. I rarely see an Eagle.
Well, because the people that I've seen that own the Eagles don't own just one Eagle. They have their daily driver Eagle, and then they have their let's go mess around Eagle, and then they have like a pasture full of parts Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, they get obsessive over these things.
Going back to what I was talking about earlier before we joined you, I did want to point out one thing. I think there is a little bit of hope in this. I know people keep saying, Trump keeps saying China needs to deal with this. China needs to do something about it. I'm hoping they do.
Yeah.
And until I was researching today's show, I really wasn't sure why they would. Except for you don't want fallout.
Right.
coming
Yeah.
over your
I mean
thing.
they are right there.
But one thing I did find, and from the earlier segments when I was talking about trade with South Korea, Carter, can you put the computer up full screen, please? As it says here, over on the right-hand side, the top export destinations of South Korea are China first, United States second. China imports from South Korea almost twice what the United States does.
Oh wow.
So they have a dog in this. It's they
do.
It's important that they not rupture that. And then on the other side of that, imports to South Korea from China are $90.1 billion, which is more than twice what we import there.
Oh.
So the financial importance of South Korea should be glaringly obvious to China.
Right. They literally have a vested interest.
Right. So let's go back to camera one, Carter. So I'm hoping that this gives them an opportunity and a reason to step in, smack Kim Jong-un around a little bit, and say, stop it.
Yeah. Of course, then again, with enough firepower, you could just kind of create the Korean Canal where where North Korea used to be. China gets a little bit more coastal property. Mm-hmm. South Korea absorbs whatever's left, and they get it's just Korea then.
Well, I really want to see what the end game idea is for North Korea, because not only have they said, Carter, let's go back to the computer screen there. Not only have they said, we're going to strike, here's how many missiles we're going to do it, They've even listed, see if I can find it easily here, the cities, here we are, that they will cross over above Shimanai, Hiroshima, Koichai? It's Koichi? Koichai?
Sure.
In Japan. Now, you want to get people's attention, inform them that nuclear-capable missiles are flying over Hiroshima. Yeah, I mean that's just there. That's I guess if we were Antifa, we would call that a trigger.
Sure.
I think is what that would be called. So they're up to something. I don't understand what they're up to, and they've also said, well, we're going to send those to Guam, but we're going to send them 30 to 40 kilometers off of Guam. And I don't know about anybody else, but 30 to 40 kilometers, that's what, 15 to 20 miles, roughly.
Yeah.
That's pretty close when you're talking about are they going, what are they, if they detonated above the water, it's still effectual radius.
Right.
If they get into the water, if there's a nuclear payload, what's it going to do to the ecosystem around Guam?
Right.
Or these we don't know. We don't know if they're dummy missiles, because they're saying now that they're basically, this is a test run. This is to show what they can do.
Yeah, because we have a dummy with missiles.
Yeah. So let's. I guess what the question is, how sure. I need camera one, Carter. We need. How sure are they that they can get that close and not miss? Because they miss, they could hit Guam.
Right, and there would be obvious, collateral damage, and therefore real repercussions. I mean, if they hit it, if they drop a dummy missile off into the water over there, I mean, there's still repercussions, but not quite as. But I just don't think they would be as severe as if there actually were civilian casualties involved.
Years ago, I saw an interview. Well, I read an interview, pardon me, with a Air Force representative. They were announcing the refinements in cruise missile technology. They said before this refinement, they could shoot a cruise missile between the uprights on a football field.
Wow.
He said with the updates, they could hit the upright.
Oh.
My question is, do we have comfort? Do we want to be comfortable hoping North Korea can do the same?
Well, there's been so many mixed reports of whether or not that they've actually, with the missile tests that they've already done, there's been so many mixed reports on did they actually hit where they were aiming. Mm-hmm. I mean, the one that was dropped off roughly 200 miles off the coast of Japan, that they did.
The one that landed in the economic zone there.
Right.
Yeah.
Did it land exactly where they said it was going to, or are they just trying to bolster and say, yeah, that hit right where we were aiming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like the guy you play pool with, and he makes a triple.
Yeah, makes a triple on a junk shot.
Yeah, it says, yeah, I meant to do that. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, you're not shooting. We're not taking slop here. Yeah. You got to call your shots, man.
Yeah. So but that's why I say, no matter what happens, if they start lobbing these things, a response is going to be not only expected but in order. And if it is, we're talking months of transport of military assets, mm-hmm. possibly out of other theaters such as Afghanistan, getting everything ready to go and all that. At any time, they can start shelling Seoul. Well, that's about 20 million people. So there's going to be a need for supplies there.
The logistics behind what it takes to be able to mobilize the resources over there, I'm 99% sure that the logistics have already been tentatively put into place.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, to be able to mobilize a response, hence the presence of the new and improved USS Nimitz.
Well, and what I'm thinking more of is the transportation of armor and things like that where you unfortunately you can't load 5 of those onto a C5 Galaxy and
well,
jet them all over. I think you can load 1 or 2.
I think when we're talking about actually getting ground support over there, I think the initial response from that would actually come out of China.
Well, I'm hoping
Initially, anyway.
I'm hoping, I read history and I read things about the false invasion force that we set up in England in World War II to make the Nazis think we weren't going where we're going. We were going to go somewhere else with the inflatable tanks and the things like this. I read things like that, and I honestly hope that we're doing things like that now. That we're not broadcasting everything we're going to do, so that there is, so I really, really hope that something happens and we find out, oh yeah, we totally prepared for this, here it goes.
Oh, you mean instead of CNN telling Saddam Hussein that we're fixing to come over there so that he has plenty of opportunity to be able to mobilize sensitive assets into Syria?
Well, I mean, just, anytime let's use North Korea. I mean, they're saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this done, ready to go by the middle of August, and as soon as the dear fat leader says so, we'll do it. And I'm hoping, I hope that there's something going on better, because I just have this feeling that as soon as we start mobilizing assets that he can see, he's really going to let loose. He's going to see that as not, as if not an attack, a prep for an attack, a preparatory for an attack, and unleash what he can. That makes it. I worry about Seoul. There's a lot of people in Seoul that.
But through some of the information I've been reading from the state-run media out of Korea, their narrative is that the U.S. and China are the ones doing the saber rattling. And that their nuclear weapon development is based off of some sort of self-defense, because apparently, North Korea is supposed to be this great and magnificent nation. Of course, again, that's the narrative that the people are witnessing due to the chokehold that little midget has on their.
Well, it's all state-run media. Yeah, I mean, it's state-run media. That's all that's allowed.
Yeah, and they're not even allowed to have full access to the internet. They're not allowed to see anything else outside of. I mean, I'm sure that there's ways that some people do. I'm sure that there's got to be an underground, giving some good information. But still, the vast majority of people are only getting their information from the state-run media, which is why the Un family itself has been, or the Kim family was being deified.
Well, I believe, and there is an underground. I'm sure there is, because like the underground in Cuba, where there's not the internet except at hotel. Well, there's internet. Basically, it's usually it's the most prolific at hotels that cater to other people from other countries. And I know there that bandwidth's very popular at those places, because workers and things will get on, download what they want. Music, movies, books, things like this, onto hard drives, onto thumb drives, and those get passed around. It's more of a sneaker net than an internet. And I'm sure there's something like that over there. And I know there's groups who have tried ballooning things into North Korea, things like that. And I know that South Korea likes to, whenever there's a issue, they put up these big arrays of speakers to broadcast into North Korea, and that really irritates North Korea.
Wow.
So, because they have no control over it. Yeah. But this just leads me to say that there's so much that could happen here that I think that to not address this and to not point out that really, as a culmination of all of our shows on prepping, that this is a time to step back, look at the big picture. Instead of looking at that one prep, how can we do this one thing? How can we purify water? How can we keep food? How can we be ready? This is an opportunity for us to look at it as a whole picture. What do your preps look like? Because you may not need them, or you may need them to supplement things that get hard to get if a major outbreak occurs. Or you may need them if he decides, I'm going down, I'm taking as much of the U.S. with me as I can. He does an EMP, he does a limited strike. I mean, there's a lot that can happen here. So I think this is the perfect impetus, especially if you're like myself and you've got a little, okay, maybe not a little, but you got some ADD and you get off. And some days, honestly, I just think, why? Why am I still this focused on this? What if it never happens? And I think that's the type of thing that this is great for, is focusing ourselves on, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're preparing.
Right.
And with that, like I said, the list I did earlier of, medications, medical supplies, long-term food, really long-term food. I'm hoping this isn't a really long-term food situation. But I meant to make a prop for today. And honestly, until right at this moment, it's one of those things that I thought about as I fell asleep last night. Yeah. And I forgot about it until right now. I was going to bring a tinfoil hat. I was going to make a tinfoil hat because
that's. When you said make a prop, I was like, "Wait, you're going to make something?"
Yeah, I was going to make a tinfoil hat.
Okay, that's within your realm.
Because I had this thought of, what if there's a dead man switch? What if there is a protocol set up? Because I've heard about it in Russia.
Right.
Of Russia having one. That
ghost radio station.
What if there's a situation that if they don't hear from Kim Jong-un for X amount of days, X amount of whatever time you would put in here, they launch anyhow.
Yeah.
That's why these...
Julian Assange had the dead man switch on certain files that he had.
And that's why I worry about these suggestions of decapitation attacks by South Korea or the United States or anybody else, is how sure are we that won't trigger a launch?
I mean, surely somebody's thought about it.
And it won't be just us. It'll be, South Korea has to worry about it, as we spoke about. Japan has to worry about it. It's, of course, it's part of the United States, but Hawaii.
Right.
I think about this. Like I said, I needed my tinfoil hat. I was going to make a tinfoil hat for that part, because I know it's one of those things that you go out on and you're just like, but what if? And Carter made an interesting point this morning when we were on the way here. I said this, I find Un's logic in saying, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to do it, here's all we're going to do. Because to me, it sounds like he's setting up for failure, because I just see us putting a bunch of Aegis cruisers in the flight path and trying to take out the stuff. Or Japan has the THAAD system, South Korea has the THAAD system, etc. And Carter made the comment that he's like a Bond villain, just chattering away.
He's monologuing.
Without strapping us down.
Yeah. Well, I would hate to think though that he was a little bit more like Major Payne.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to put the left side of my right foot up against the side of your head, and and then he just decks him. Hopefully it's not effective misinformation.
But I don't know. I don't. And a lot of it's because I've said it before, I just don't believe this guy is thinking of everything. I think there's people coming up with it, and they're just asking him, can we do this now?
Yeah. Well,
They said you're fat and funny looking. Can we do this now?
And I really, really hope that, yes, they've been capable enough to be able to miniaturize warheads and be able to put them on ICBMs. We'll call that a fact. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but it's been sort of unanimously accepted that they have this technology. But I'm just hoping that they're not competent enough to be able to successfully pull off something. And I don't know who all that Kim Jong-un has behind him advising him, supporting him, planning things out. I mean, do they have their own version of Mad Dog Mattis over there? I don't know, but
they claim to. Have you seen the pictures of the generals with the medals? These guys are. They lose weight walking around. I mean, those things are huge and all over them. I mean, it's
yeah, that's an awful lot of medals for people, for a country that hasn't actually been in a war for what 60, 70 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's. I'm going to try to get a.
Yeah. We have the Mad Dog, and they've got like the pissed pug. I mean, that's.
I mean, this is what I find to be great. And we'll have this up in a second. Just stand by there, Carter, and we'll bring the.
Yeah. We need to. We need to share this with our audience.
If you haven't seen this, it is.
Yeah, it's.
Got to
trust me, it's coming up, folks.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, the persona and intellect that's passed forward by Kim Jong-un himself.
Carter, go ahead and put the computer screen up there. This isn't one of the more extravagant ones I've seen. There's some pictures where they're going down the pant leg.
Yes. Actually, yeah. I've seen a very similar setup to these three, but there was like 5 or 6, and they're running down the top of their left pant leg there, and like an incontinent bladder, and they just. It is really hard to take them seriously. From somebody that's spent 17 and a half years in the military, this just looks ridiculous.
Well, I wish we could zoom in, because when you have that many, there's got to be stuff on there like, best made bed.
Yeah.
And, cleanest Jeep wheels.
Yeah, I think they must have something in there for arts and crafts, maybe knot tying or something like that. Mm. I mean, they are, they got their attendance medal, something like that.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying that's.
I mean, do you get one of the silver ones for each time you successfully, sucked up to the Teletubby in charge?
Mm. I don't know. It's amazing, though. But okay. Let's go back to camera 1 there, Carter. And I said, maybe one of those is their own version of Mad Dog. Maybe. I don't know what they've been doing, but apparently somebody's won a medal or 2.
Yeah, I just looking at those guys, I just really think that that General Mattis could just make eye contact with one of them dudes and eat his soul.
Now, with this, sticking on the prep side of it, what I know, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things is batteries. Mm-hmm. We go through batteries. Do we still have audio? Oh, yeah, I thought I saw a flash on the screen.
Just a flicker.
Yeah, just a flicker.
Just a flicker.
We go through batteries all the time. I'll buy a bunch of them, put them up. Next thing I know, they're gone.
Yeah.
So between all that, so I think that's one of the things. Batteries and fuel in this upcoming thing are 2 of the things, because we don't import food from South Korea.
Nope.
Or we do. If we do, it's not as much as we. Food is one of our biggest exports.
Right.
To South Korea.
I think some of the only food that we might actually export from there are prepackaged snack types that are usually sold at specialty stores and things like that. Or at the markets.
So I'm trying to think of that, and then of course I think once the gates are open, if they are open, I think gas is going to go up. I'm not a stock market player, but I remember
September 11th, 2001. I mean, just one day of gouging was insane.
All right. So you're looking at, I think that, when you look at any time the stock market falls, gas goes up, anytime we really go through something like this. I saw a reference to the just had a brain fart with Kennedy, the missiles in Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Correct.
That the stock market dropped way down for the entire time. That from the time we said, hey, there's a missile there, to the time they said, okay, we'll take them, we'll take our toys and go home.
Right.
So I think that these are all things that we need to think. It may not be the end of the world, but it may be hard to get some stuff. It may be more expensive. If you can stock up on fuel, batteries, things like that. Now you're going to be less likely to be gouged later.
Right. I mean, you can, if you can survive the instant, the knee-jerk reaction of the uptick and the gouging, if you can survive that and let things kind of settle back out. I was just checking out populations of some states on the West Coast, and I'm originally from California, and I don't know why this surprises me, but the population of the state of California, I mean, say he got one of those missiles over Hawaii, made it towards the West Coast, and was able to detonate it at an altitude that created an effective EMP. And I mean, that's one of the scenarios that I've seen talked about by some of our military advisors. The state of California has 39.25 million people. To put that into perspective, well, first, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, around them. Arizona has 6.931 million. Nevada has 2.94 million. New Mexico, 2.081 million. Hawaii has 1.429 million. So California, 39.25 million people as of what could be recorded in 2016, represents 12% of the U.S. population of a total of about 323.1 million people.
Well, I know with the Cal exit thing going on, they are claiming that California, if it was to form its own country, would be the 7th largest trading or 7th largest economic power by itself in the world.
But it can't stand on its own 2 feet.
But that's all I'm saying is they say that by itself in production and purchasing and everything else, 7th in the nation. So if you were to EMP just California, more than the 39 million people that you would take out the manufacturing, the distribution, everything else. That would be like taking out. There are many other countries in the world that it would have less of an effect on the world than if you took California by itself.
Right. Well, and even if it was just an EMP and not counting any death toll that would happen from people that need technology to be able to live, people that are medically dependent upon technology.
Well, implanted defibrillators, pacemakers, insulin pumps.
People on some form of life support,
right.
Breathing treatments, things like that. With that being limited, and then there's the obvious, inevitable, horrendous rioting that would be going on and the looting. Once the initial effect of that is...
Put your TVs in a safe.
Yeah.
They always grab TVs.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you ever see anybody going, I got the toilet paper? They're going, I got the big screen. Ain't got nowhere to plug it in.
They always get the TVs.
But once everything settles down, like you had mentioned before, the draw on the infrastructure to try to be able to reroute power just for emergency services in that state. And trying to get food, medical supplies, the National Guard being mobilized from virtually every state from, I'd say probably the east side of Missouri west, with the National Guard mobilized and going over there, which they need food, they need shelter, they need fuel to be able to operate. I mean, that would just draw resources away from the rest of the United States.
And that's why I say gas. We've seen, like you say, with September 11th and things, how quickly got can shoot up, how just rumors can set gas up. So something real, when we got ready to go into Iraq, I remember the buildup, but it wasn't in the face of what we would be going into in Korea.
No,
it wasn't. And so like I said, I just think that's why I say gas is the one thing. Keep your cars full. Keep them 3/4 or above. Keep them lit so that if something does happen, you're still able to get back and forth to where you need to be, be it at work or you're, something more drastic.
Be able to get back to your family.
Right. Of course, that's me beating the same drum I always beat. I'm always like, what is this car doing under half a tank? Why? Nobody. So, but that's me. Over half a tank in my car and clean gun. Those are my two standbys. So,
yeah, and what, 3 showers a day?
Sometimes. I mean, I'm down to 2 a lot of days now. So,
wow, you filthy animal.
So, cleanliness is next to godliness. And on the other things, I have no hope.
I'm just going to drink my coffee.
I know what goes on in the background. I know the backstage view. So, well, to wrap up here, we're going to. I'm going to thank you all for joining us again. Thank Jesse for making it in from his assignment of beard grooming. And as you can see, we are keeping track of it. He's still shaving the top.
Yeah. Well,
more or less.
Got to keep it looking good. Everything, but this isn't bad. I'm what, 15 days in.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So it looks like you're about 15 days in too.
No, I shaved last night.
Oh. Well, just got bored.
No, well, every once in a while, some of it gets long enough that my phone catches it and yanks it, and that hurts. So I shaved it. Nobody else can tell it, but I can.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be very long for the phone to grab it.
I just still think it's kind of ironic that, well, like I said before, 17 and a half years in the military, but I've never attempted to grow a beard. It's never been anything I've wanted to do.
You weren't spec ops.
Never been inclined to do it. And I just, a couple of weeks, not too bad. It's just ironic, though, that I waited until all of this starts turning silver and everything. Waited till the gray really set in before I tried one.
Yeah.
Hopefully it just stays distinguished.
I was saying, you're going for the distinguished, the bald Sean Connery look. You've got the Walther. I mean, you've already.
Yeah, I've got the PPK.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Sean Connery. That'd be awesome. I could really do that.
It's beyond. I don't know. I'm genetically banned from that area, so I just get on. But on the upside, I don't have to worry about a large supply of razors in my preps.
That you don't. That you don't. But I do have to say that using the razor subscription company that I do use, again, what would Scooby say? The
Rattle Rocks?
Yeah, the Roller Shave Club.
Yeah.
Reggie. Yeah. They, since I don't necessarily shave every day, boy, those razors do kind of stock up. So, I've got a good little reserve of them, so I can at least, stay trimmed and handsome if the Teletubby does decide to do something really manic.
Really quick on the Rattle Rocks vein, I haven't done any follow-ups on my Raven Crest stuff because nobody, I got 1 thumbs down on my review and like 8 people watched it, so I haven't done any more. But they did send me last month. They sent me 2 knives.
Yeah.
And it was one of them was a neat little thing. It has a knife. I'll bring it next week for the show. It has a knife and it's got this nut driver type in that flips out of it, and it comes with 4 2 straight, 2 Phillips head screwdriver ends.
Yeah.
You put them in there. You can use. I used them the other day to do some stuff just to see if it'd work. It was pretty cool. And the other one was like one of those curved blades you snap out and it pops up.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll keep an edge, but I was able to shave part of my arm with it out of the box. So. For $16 a month, not awful.
Not terrible.
My wife is starting to make remarks to the number of knives getting built up in my knife drawer, though.
We need to start doing some do some reviews on the knives, and then start doing some sort of raffle or something like that for our listeners, and that way we can maybe give some knives away to
I'll think on that.
And I mean,
That's like asking me to give a gun away. That's just
okay. I've got a drawer just that's about 50% knives, and I carry the same 3 every day.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I do too. But I just I don't know. Every time I've sold a gun, I've regretted it for months afterwards, years afterwards sometimes.
Even the one you sold me?
Yeah. Why do you think I got another one now?
Yeah, that is true. You did just replace it.
So, but in the meantime, thank you for joining us. This has been episode 44. Got episode 45 coming. We'll have to do something special for episode 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we did just elect our 45th president. Maybe we could do something. All right, we kind of want to veer away from.
We should build a wall.
Carter wants to build a wall for our 45th.
Did the boundary mics get that?
I don't know. We may be able to. I don't know if we could get a tweet from the president for our 45th show.
He is a tweeting fool.
He's yeah. Real quick what's the deal with the chicken?
What chicken?
Am I the only one? Carter, get ready to bring this up here. Somebody put, and I don't know why.
I'm not even sure what a Twitter is, so I'm probably.
They put this
probably
within
missed
view of the White House. New York Times article, why is there a giant inflatable chicken near the White House? Carter, go ahead and put the computer up.
But it's got great hair.
So I didn't know if anyone knew, what the heck was up with this? It's it's a Trump chicken, apparently. Which...
Okay. Sorry, I just need a second to collect myself because of... There were so many comments available just off the imagery of seeing the giant inflatable chicken. Rooster, to be precise, and then the
30 feet tall.
Monument behind it. And
30 feet tall.
30-foot tall inflatable chicken.
Yeah, and I mean, that can't be cheap. I don't know what a 30-foot tall chicken, and a custom made.
Yeah.
30-foot tall chicken.
With great hair.
You know who I think's behind it?
Hillary? Bernie?
North Korea. I think
North Korea.
it's calling him a chicken.
Mm. Oh,
I think
so it's sort of a taunting thing.
Yeah.
Okay, may have been. I thought that perhaps the Russians must have done it.
Maybe next week on the DMZ there'll be a Kim Jong-un chicken.
Yeah. Well, no, it'll be a Teletubby with a bowl cut.
But anyways, that's what I'm gonna. That's what I'm going to end with there. If you know why there's a chicken there, because even the story here is just speculating. Is it Russia? Is it something to do with North Korea? Is it like that? So I don't know.
It's a big. It looks a little angry too.
I love the combination of the chicken waddle that could also be his tie.
True.
Because he always, it seems like he mostly wears a red tie.
Of course, from the shape of it, I don't know, kind of looks like Peter Griffin's chin.
Yeah, it does that. But yeah, it goes gold feet. I think Trump would like that. The gold feet, the gold hair.
Yeah, Alex had great hair.
See, if it was me, I would have said, you got to make the chicken orange.
Yeah,
the chicken needs a spray.
I mean, if you're going to be, using it as some sort of mockery, but. That's I'm not seeking a great amount of fame in my life. I would rather be effective as opposed to famous. But at some point in my life, I hope I irritate somebody enough.
They make a 30-foot tall chicken?
They make a 30-foot tall chicken of my likeness. A big, bald, bearded chicken. Just out and I'd be flattered.
I just want to know where the money came from to do it. Who paid for it?
I don't know who built it. Who was able to keep a straight face making that thing?
Because I mean, if you got that kind of money, we will. We'll let you sponsor the show.
Yeah,
I will. I don't know exactly how we'd work that out, but because I'll bet you, if you're the kind of person to put that up, you're probably not a fan of the show.
Probably not.
So, but anyhow, that's finish that up there. I just had to point out the 30-foot chicken in Washington. So
where his tact and class gone. Of course, I mean that's relatively harmless. And it has a comical.
There's nothing X-rated about it. There's nothing overly offensive. It's not like it's a white chicken in blackface.
No, it's actually extremely well done.
Yeah. So,
no, kudos to the craftsmen behind making that thing, though. I mean, they did. Looks like they did a pretty good job of it all as far as the design of it goes. And boy, it's angry. It's got the big gold eyebrows. So
yeah, I know there's a fan keeping him inflated. Mm-hmm. Which saddens me because all that would be better is if that thing came loose from its moorings and the giant chicken floated over Washington, D.C. I just think that would be...
Like that gorilla in that Kia commercial.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. But in the meantime, we will see you next time. If you got any ideas, Jeff at j2cast.com, Jesse at j2cast.com, and the phone number is going to be on the screen because I forgot to write it down first.
You figured we would both have the same memorized by now.
You know, I never call myself is the problem. If I were to call myself, maybe I would... remember it better. Here it is. I took a picture of it. 417-553-3716 is the call. Give us a shout. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you don't think. Tell us what you want to do. We may even use you as part of the podcast. Once again, this is on video. If you're listening to it on the subscription to the podcast on your podcast app, you can find it on YouTube, where you're actually going to see the picture of the giant chicken instead of having to look it up yourself. And we're going to be doing more of these. On the other hand, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe below. And if you want to take us on the go, there's always the podcast alternative.
Yeah, podcast alternative that you can look up on your Google Play or
iTunes.
If you're one of those people.
If you're using the right thing, it's on iTunes. If you're using the wrong thing, it's on Google Play. And of course, there's usually a link on Facebook.
Yes.
There. Yep. So
and follow us there too.
So continue prepping, continue keeping your eyes out for what's going on, and we will catch you next time.
Be safe. God bless.